Hi, I'm Karen Vecchio, your Member of Parliament for Elgin-Middlesex-London, and this is your Week in Review from April 26th to April 30th. This week, the House debated many significant items of legislation and had several key votes. Initial debate on the 2021 budget has wrapped up and voted on just last Monday. My colleagues and I have serious concerns with the budget, which continues to accumulate debt with no fiscal anchor whatsoever. Justin Trudeau has now accumulated more debt than all prime ministers before him combined. The government's debt will be $1.2 trillion, and this year alone, Canadians will spend $22.1 billion on interest payments servicing the federal debt. While I support some measures in the budget, including the extension of the wage subsidy for small businesses and recovery benefits for individuals, it fails to effectively get Canadians back to work and contains no increase in support for healthcare funding. Even with the crucial pandemic support programs, the government needs to have a plan to balance the budget in time and to help kickstart our economic recovery. Sadly, after more than 2 years without a budget, the government's 2021 budget misses the mark. Another major issue highlighted by my constituents is the government's recent changes to the proposed Bill C-10. The government has decided to alter its own bill to regulate what individual Canadians say on social media. The former commissioner of the CRTC has called this move a full-blown assault on free expression. My Conservative colleagues and I will continue to fight this outrageous episode of government overreach. Although I support creating a level playing field for foreign players and Canadian broadcasters, this should never be done at the expense of Canadians' rights and freedoms. Although I wish I could say committee work continues as per usual, there are multiple filibusters in multiple committees occurring in order to prevent committees from doing their work. The committee that I serve on, Procedures and House Affairs, has officially passed the 2-month mark of wasted meetings. Liberal members continually speak for hours on end just to avoid a vote. Many committees are doing their incredible work to help Canadians get through this COVID-19 pandemic, but many committees are stalled out. Liberals have been forcing an end to investigations into the sexual misconduct of Canada's former top general, Jonathan Vance. Many witnesses have yet to testify, and Canadians deserve to know exactly why the Prime Minister allowed General Vance to continue his job even after he became aware of these allegations. This government owes it to our women in uniform to be forthright with Canadians and allow key witnesses to testify. This week in the House of Commons, we also voted on Bill C-29, an act to provide for the resumption and continuation of operations at the Port of Montreal, presented by the Minister of Labour. Early Thursday morning, my Conservative colleagues and I voted in support of this legislation to keep this essential port open. We believe that a general strike at an essential port should be avoided during a pandemic for the good of all Canadians, port workers, and all sectors and businesses. And welcome to my life as an MP. You probably hear my dog right now, Benson, out there barking. So working from home and trying to be at both places, I am doing my best. So let's get back on to our review. On Wednesday evening, I hosted my colleague MP Raquel Dancho, Shadows Minister for Future Workforce Development and Disability Inclusion, for a meeting with our constituents of Elgin-Middlesex-London. Our conversation covered an array of topics, such as securing Canadian jobs that have been lost during this COVID-19 pandemic, the federal government's recently announced budget, securing the mental health of Canadians, cannabis grow-ops within suburbs of our communities, and many other topics concerning attendees. Thanks so much to all of the participants for joining in and making this a great evening. Don't forget that the 2020 tax deadline is here. Despite repeated calls from opposition members, the government has refused to extend the deadline. And in order to ensure you don't experience a lapse in benefits, be sure to get your taxes in as soon as possible. We know we had lots of issues last year, so let's try to get in front of that. That's all for this week. It's a pleasure to serve all constituents of Elgin-Middlesex-London, and I will continue to do my best to represent you in the House of Commons.